Hey everyone, and welcome to Smart Group Training with Resistance Bands. My name is Steve Long, and this is my partner in crime, Jared Wooliver. We recently put together a done-for-you product called Smart Group Training, Screening and Corrective Exercise, which was a done-for-you resource on how to include corrective exercise, screening into your large group training system. From there, we've had a lot of great feedback, and we've had a lot of requests for follow-up products on Volume 1. So with our first follow-up from Volume 1, we're bringing to you today Smart Group Training with Resistance Bands. What we wanted to do is have a product that would allow you to bring in our Smart Group Training system with minimal space requirements, minimal cost, and extremely easy to implement. So when we're thinking about what we're going to do to bring in that system, we knew the number one tool for this is going to be bands.
Yeah, at Smart Group Training, we use bands all the time. There's three main reasons we use bands with Smart Group Training with our systems that we put together in Volume 1. The first main reason is going to be flexibility, mobility. So we use resistance bands to create different angles of pull, joint distraction, several other reasons why we like resistance bands to work on flexibility, mobility. The second thing why we really like resistance bands with our training is pattern assistance. So with the pattern assistance, we're looking to use resistance bands to help preset the core so we can get good core engagement before learning a movement. And then we also like to use the bands to help assist. So those bands are going to help decrease body weight, basically help assist our natural capabilities of producing good sound movement. The last reason why we really like resistance bands with our training is pattern resistance. So that takes us up to the final stage to where we're actually working on strength from there. So we take it all the way from flexibility, mobility, just going through a complete continuum. Flexibility, mobility, then we like the pattern assistance all the way up to our final component, which is the strength or the pattern resistance phase. So at Smart Group Training, we use bands all the time. We're pretty good with bands, but we have, the world's foremost expert in band education with us today. So I'm going to go ahead, just give this off to Dave, the band man Schmitz.
Hey guys, Steve.
Hey, what's going on?
Jared, thank you. Steve, thank you. What's funny is when the first time I saw your Volume 1 product, I have to admit, the first thing I thought of was, my bands can help you guys out. And I knew you guys used them a lot. And so I'm thinking, down the road here, we've got to look at how could we make the Smart Group Training product maybe a little bit more portable. And then you guys gave me a shout, and we're ready to go. So I'm excited because I want to go ahead and make sure you guys understand some of the benefits. Jared's already talked a little bit about some of the benefits of bands. Let me take you into it a little bit further so that you really start to understand how this 41-inch resistance band can really go ahead and not only help with your training that Jared and Steve are working with, but just in general. When you look at, we'll pick up the band, when you look at it, it looks like just a simple band. But what you have to understand is that this band has an ascending resistance. And what we mean by that is as you stretch the band out, you're going to go ahead and get more resistance. Now, that may seem simple, but when you start looking at how it impacts your body, that's going to allow us to do several things with this band for corrective exercise training. First and foremost, Jared has already talked about pattern assist. Well, a band is going to be able to assist your movement patterns. And it's going to do that because it's going to decrease gravity, it's going to slow down momentum, okay, and it's going to ease up ground reaction forces. So those things are why our body doesn't move well. If we can't handle those things, subsequently we're going to have problems doing normal movements. Subsequently we're going to start cheating, we're going to start creating dysfunction. So that's the first thing unique about using a band is the ascending resistance. Now with that, you're going to go ahead, this band is going to be, you're going to see, we're going to attach this band onto our bodies. And every time you attach the band onto your body, you immediately tell your body what to do. The band becomes what we call a proprioceptive training tool. And so what it does is it tells muscles when to activate and if they should activate. So as a proprioceptive tool, this is going to be huge for you to teach people how to move effectively without actually having to tell them, which is always a much better way of doing it. If they can learn how to do it, feel it, it's much more effective than you having to cue them and tell them. We've already talked about the band being an assist, but obviously it can be a resistive tool as well. And not just any resistive tool. The resistance bands, basically, because of the numbers of sizes we have, you can go ahead and create essentially an unlimited resistance. And so now, not only do you have an unlimited resistance to help you assist people, so if you have some heavier people that really need a lot of assistance early on, you've got a big enough band to do that. However, once we get into the strengthening aspect of this and we start showing you the strengthening exercises, what you're going to see is you can take it as far as you want. So if you become really strong with some of these exercises and you want to keep building that strength, the bands will allow you to match any kind of resistance level or strength level you want to go with. So that's a couple of key things. Now, the band is also an accommodating overpressure. And what do I mean by that? Well, we stretch, and we're going to take you through a lot of flexibility type drills. Now, understand that as a muscle stretches, there's going to become a point where that muscle says, hey, no more. That's as far as I can go. And we've been taught that if we let that muscle kind of relax a little bit and just hang out there for a little bit, it will start to release. Well, the cool thing about it is you're going to see is as we're stretching the muscle, it'll tighten up, it'll stop, but the band being elastic will slowly continue to lengthen that muscle out so you get a very nice accommodating stretch. It's probably one of the most effective ways to stretch out passively or create overpressure to take that muscle just a little further than what it's used to going. So you're going to find that to be really helpful. Another key thing is horizontal vector training. Yeah, you know, you can take a dead weight and you can lay on your back and do presses and different things and say, well, I'm working in a horizontal vector. But in reality, you've gone ahead and put your body in a little bit more of a non-functional position. You're going to see that as we go through the progressions, we're going to build from the ground up, meaning we're going to let you do some lying down things. We're then going to get you into some hands and knees things. Then we're going to go ahead and get you half kneeling. But ultimately, we want to get you to standing because that's how this body of ours was created. It was created around being able to stand, walk, and run. And those are the things that our goal of getting you back to and getting your clients back to, that's our goal. So what we're going to do is we're going to work through that progression. Now, horizontal vector training, well, if this band is not anti-gravity or independent of gravity, it's just going to do the same thing a dead weight does. But because it is not gravity dependent, we're going to be able to create some really nice straight horizontal vectors that are going to impact specifically your core and your hip and allow you to really do some things that you couldn't do with dead weight. So that's going to be real key, and you're going to see more of that as we go along. Couple key things that are just very simple. This thing is super lightweight. So that means it's super portable, which means that if you want to take the FMS program and you want to go off-site, test a lot of people, get them so that you really truly understand what they need, and then you can easily bring the bands in because they're portable. You can bring them in and you can start training them right on site. And a beautiful facility like here at Force Fitness, awesome to have. If you have one of those, congratulations. But if you don't and you're getting started and you want to get the Smart Group Training program implemented, hey, get their DVD, get level 1, get volume 1, and then go ahead and bring bands in and you've got everything you need to get started. Then when you get that awesome facility set up, you're good to go. But here's the other thing about portability. Your clients can take it home with them to work on their corrective exercise. Now think about that. You can go ahead, you assess them, you show them what they got to work on, and then you provide them a tool that they can use to improve on that. Not only is that going to create a much better result, but now you've provided even greater value for that client, and you're going to get your clients better faster. Because if they can work on it on their own a little bit and work on it with you, that's the best of both worlds. And so now you've really gone ahead and added great value to the overall program. The last thing about resistance bands is this. Ascending resistance, we talked about it. Well, the number one place that people get injured, and I know this because after years of working in the physical therapy field as a therapist, I realized that people don't get injured when they're in a nice, tight, compact position. They get injured when they're spread out, when their extremities get to their length. That means that they get injured in the periphery. Well, with an ascending resistance, what you're going to find out real quickly as we take you through these workouts and these exercises is this, that we can go ahead, get you lengthened out, and then because the resistance is so much greater at the end of the range, we can use that to engage muscles. And you're going to see that we're going to use that a lot of times to pre-engage muscles so that we get you nice and stable, so then your extremities move the way we want you to have them moving. Now, it also is going to create peripheral stability, and that's where we're weak. You know, you think of a tree for a second and think of the trunk. The trunk's nice and solid. Where does it get unstable? Those branches on the end, they start to get unstable. We want you to be trunk strong throughout your entire body, not just in the center. And so we're going to teach you how to use bands to stabilize in the periphery, and bands essentially are the only thing that you can use to do that. So there's a ton of benefits that you're going to get from using bands in this program. And then when you can go ahead and bring in body weight, and then eventually when you get that facility, you can go ahead and bring in your other tools, you're set and you can cover all bases. Let me take another minute now and just talk to you a little bit about what I call bandology or band 101. I want to talk to you a little bit about the band so you know what's involved. First of all, you want to make sure that the bands you use are continuously loop band. I prefer layered bands, which is what we go ahead and work with. And you want to make sure that the bands that you have different widths. It's going to be hard to go ahead and work with the same width of band because, as you're going to see, you're going to need different levels of assistance, different levels of resistance. So you're going to go ahead and want different widths. Our widths are usually 1/2 inch, 3/4, they go up to 1 1/8, and they keep going from there. You're going to find that the bands we use the most in a color-coded situation are going to be orange, red, black. In a width code, it's going to be a 1/2 inch, which is only going to be 2.5 inches thick. You're going to use a 1/2 inch red that is 5 millimeters thick, and then we're going to use the black, which is 3/4 inch wide, again 5 millimeters thick, and then the purple we'll use a little bit to go ahead and assist with that. That's 1 1/8 and again 5 millimeters thick. All bands are 41 inches long, so they're all the same that way. Now, a couple things we're going to use as accessories that I think you want to at least continue to consider. Band utility strap. The band utility strap allows us to go ahead and hook this into a door so that if people want to train at home and they need a horizontal vector, or you're going to see, we're going to do a lot of exercises from where the band is going to be elevated above your head. So you're going to need to be able to go ahead and get a situation where you can hook the band above your head. Well, the easiest way to do that, hook this into a door, let this hang down, and you're going to hook your band onto this little plastic piece. We'll show you more about that as we go through the program. But right now, band utility strap is going to be a fairly important thing that you want to consider. Now, the other thing is people say, well, Dave, why don't you guys have handles on your bands? Well, the reason is, you're going to see real quickly, is if we have handles on our bands, now we can't hook them to your hands, we can't hook them to your hips, we can't do those types of things. So we lose out on a lot of the ability to train with the band. The handles are very simple. They're a very easy way. You just clip them on. They have a carabiner clip. You hook it on, and you can go with it. So handles might be something that you want to consider as well. However, the key and what you're going to find is, in most cases, all we're going to use is a simple 41-inch band just like this. And the goal is to keep this program simple. We want to go ahead and not only just give you the straight ahead exercises, give you the direct 1, 2, 3 step approach. So there are a lot of ways that you can go ahead and use bands, but what you're going to find out today is we're going to go ahead and we're going to follow the 7 stages of the FMS program. The criteria, the assessment that they provide out, we're going to break that down and follow it just like they do. We're going to go ahead then and we're going to give you 4 to 5 progressive exercises to get people through those dysfunctional areas so you learn how to correct them and get them working well, and we'll use bands to affect all of those stages. From there then, we'll go into breaking up strengthening, and we'll break strengthening into push, pull, hip, knee, or quad dominant exercises and core exercises. And we're going to go ahead, there's tons of exercises we could show you, but we're going to show you the ones that work the best in our facilities and with our groups and get you started with that. Once you get started with that and you've mastered those and you got your clients working on those, we will give you tons of ways to go ahead and find other options, other exercises, other ways to implement it. But right now what we want to do is make sure that when you have this in your hands, it's very clear cut. Here's the exercises I go to, here's where I use them, here's why I use them, here's how I use them, and then go ahead and just implement them. Get serious success with your clients, get them moving, and then when they're looking for more, you go out and we'll give you more options at that point, and we'll just keep you going. The cool thing is bands are pretty unlimited, and Jared and Steve's program has unlimited potential in regards to how far it can take your clients. So together, you're going to get a pretty powerful program. I'm excited to go ahead and have you guys involved in it. I'm looking forward to getting this going. So now let's go ahead and let's break down that FMS program, and let's get people corrective exercises at each level so that we can go ahead and get them started that way. Cool?
Cool.
All right, guys, let's get it rolling.